So we're going to take a minute to talk about right triangles. And the terminology right has nothing to do with the directions right or left. So in math, the term right, when it applies to triangles and angles, means that it's a 90-degree angle. So a right triangle is simply a triangle that has a 90-degree angle. And we show that by putting a little box in the corner of that angle. So the right angle is the one that is perpendicular. It's the one where if you took a piece of paper and put it in that corner, it would fit. So that's where the square comes from. So as I said, the orientation of the triangle is not important. And even though if I draw this triangle facing the other way, it's still got a 90-degree angle, and it's still a right triangle. So right triangles are special in a way that each side has a name. So if I have this as my right triangle, the side opposite the right angle has a name called the hypotenuse. It's called the hypotenuse, and that's a kind of a fun name to say, and it's probably pretty easy to remember too, because there's not not many things that have a name like that. And so the hypotenuse is the longest side in a right triangle, and the other two sides also have a name, but the name is not distinct between them, even though they usually aren't the same size. The other two sides are called legs. So a right triangle has two legs and one hypotenuse. And that's just the terminology. So the legs you can recognize because they're the two sides that meet at the right angle. So they meet at this 90-degree angle. So they're pretty easy to find. And then the hypotenuse is just the other side. So why is this? Why are we bothering to name the sides of a right triangle? Well, usually when we do something like that, it's because there's a use for it. And the use for right triangles is that we see them many places in the world in this kind of relationship. And there's a theorem called the Pythagorean theorem that's going to allow us to use this relation, or that shows a relationship between these three sides that's going to allow us to solve lots of problems. So that'll be coming up next.